All right. So I know I've done this video before, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a re-ranking of the Evil Dead movies in honor of Evil Dead Burn. The last time I did a ranking video for this was when Evil Dead Rise was coming out. So the movies have kind of changed a bit for me, but yeah. Now, as always, this is just my personal opinion. If you think a movie should be higher or lower on the list, that's totally fine. I got no problem with you. This is just my personal opinion, and I'm always excited to see where the movies rank for you. And keep in mind, there is no such thing as an bad Evil Dead movie. And even if the movie, there's just got to be a movie at the bottom of the list in these terms of ranking. But I stand by that there is no such thing as a bad Evil Dead movie, and hopefully Burn continues that. Please, knock on metal for this case. So yeah. So I'm always excited to see what you guys have to say in the comments below. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started with the video. So we're going to start from the bottom and work our way to the top. So at the bottom, Army of Darkness. Now hold up. I have a few reasons. Again, I have to stress, there is no such thing as a bad Evil Dead movie. But the reason why I put Army of Darkness at the bottom is because it's the most sanitized of them. And I get it, that wasn't Sam Raimi's intention. That was more of Universal Studios. But it is pretty sanitized. It's the most sanitized, but it's also equally the most fun at the same time. It's the most, quote-unquote, family-friendly of the Evil Dead movies, but it's incredibly fun. It is the most, I dare say, it is more quotable than Evil Dead 2. This is the Ash that everyone remembers. The doofy hero with one-liners. That's how we always remember Ash. So this movie also has, and this also is just a lot of fun. But like I said, compared to the other films and the style and everything else to the others, it feels very standoutish. And again, that's a lot of studio interference and things like that. But at the same time, you still see a lot of Sam Raimi blend to the fun as well. Yeah. So even though it's at the bottom of the list, I still love it. You should too, you primitive screwheads. Anyway, next on the list, Evil Dead Rise. For some reason, people seem to think that this is the worst Evil Dead movie. And again, people say that there are no bad Evil Dead movies. Tongue-tied there. But for some reason, everyone likes to shit on Rise. Suddenly, after Rise came out, and it's been a few years and now we're getting close to Evil Dead Burn, for some reason, everyone's looking back at Rise and going, that movie sucks. First off, no. Secondly, you're wrong. But the thing of it is of why it's kind of low, I can understand why some people have a problem with it. Do I think it kind of takes a little too much from the other films? Yeah. At the same time, though, you see a lot of these requel movies or legacy sequel movies, and they take a lot from the original films. And to try to play it safe after being gone for so long as a franchise. So I understand the reasoning. Having said that, this movie has some of the most has a lot of memorable characters. They're all, you feel for all of them. And when they become Deadites or get brutally murdered, and I do stress they get brutally murdered, there are just some moments in this movie where you just go, it just gets under your skin. You feel bad for them. And there are a lot of good kills in here. And I love the high rise. I like that we're in a inner city, but we're still trapped. And I like that. I like that it's an open place, but there's also a level of isolation in the high rises. So I think it's still pretty good. Now, the detractors I had is yes, it does take a little too much from the other movies. And yes, I do think it works bigger than its budget allows it to. It tries to be bigger than its budget. But having said that, though, still pretty damn good. Anyway, moving on to our next film, and that is Evil Dead 2013. Evil Dead 2013, the remake, I say remake in quotation, because, this movie's no longer a remake. It's in continuity. So Evil Dead 2013 it's a beautiful, if you just look at it as a reboot alone, you could easily see that this movie was a love letter to the original Evil Dead movies. And Mia is such a great character. I would love to see her back and kind of carry that torch for Ash, because God knows we sadly can't have Bruce Campbell. I'm sorry, guys. Bruce Campbell can't be Ash anymore. He's over 70 and he's battling cancer. I would love to see Ash again. And I remember there was a lot of talk of like an Evil Dead animated show with Bruce Campbell voicing the character, but I've heard nothing about that, so I can't really comment on that. But having said all that, Mia should come back. Or some of the characters from Ash vs. Evil Dead. Yeah, but this also is the movie that just gets under your skin with the kills. There's just a lot of when you watch it. I also, while I do think Mia is a great character, everyone else kind of sucks. Like, all the other characters are pretty bland and look like Abercrombie and Finch models that just are cannon fodder. So, yeah. But I think Mia is a carrying point, and the gore effects are really great. So, yeah. Moving on up to our next movie, and that is the original Evil Dead movie. This is a work of art, like a straight-up work of horror art. This movie is so memorable, and you have to give it to Sam Raimi and everyone a part of this movie for working their asses off in this film. Like, this movie quite literally had so much working against it, like elements, makeup effects, everything, and they still pulled off what is arguably one of the most memorable horror films of all time. And it was a little movie that could. What more can I say? It was just the little movie that could. So by process of elimination, you already know what it is. Still reigning champ for me, Evil Dead 2. This is one of the best horror movies ever made. You can't deny it. It is one of the greatest horror movies of all time. It is also the ultimate horror comedy movie. Ash is literally a Looney Tune here. That, yes, it does get turned up to 11 in Army of Darkness, but you see that, and it also can still balance being scary and funny. There's just, you could be laughing or screaming in terror. There's also still great jump scares that get me to this day. It is a bloody film. It is a fun film, and it's also just so incredibly low budget, but it keeps true to itself and keeps going. Absolutely love this film. I really do love it. So yeah, there's no doubt. At number one, it's Evil Dead. It's Evil Dead 2. Now, where do I put Ash vs. Evil Dead, the series? It's kind of its own thing, but I really love it. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, where are your guys' rankings for the Evil Dead movies? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.